In the quiet hum of the Chronos Institute, where the past was meticulously catalogued and the future theoretically charted, Elara Vance found her sanctuary. A life of order, of predictable causality, or so she thought. The air in the archives was thick with the scent of old paper and ozone. Elara, sharp and focused, meticulously sorted through holographic projections of historical data. Her workspace was a symphony of organized chaos, ancient texts alongside glowing data slates. She sipped lukewarm coffee, her eyes scanning complex timelines. A subtle tremor ran through her hand, a fleeting distraction. She rubbed her temples. Another flicker of a memory, not hers, not quite. A flash of a different lab, a different Kai, a different desperate plea. Just stress. Too many late nights with the paradox reports, she muttered to herself. She dismissed it, refocusing on a holographic display showing a minor historical discrepancy. Her current reality was stable, predictable. The other, it was just a dream, but the dreams were no longer whispers. They were echoes growing louder, more insistent, memories of a life unlived yet undeniably felt. That night, Elara jolted awake, drenched in sweat. The dream was vivid, terrifying. She was in a lab, alarms blaring, a console sparking. Kai, charismatic and intense, was beside her, his face etched with panic. They were trying to stabilize something, a swirling vortex of energy. Then, a blinding flash, a scream, and the world fractured. She sat up, heart pounding. Her apartment was familiar, safe, but the lingering scent of ozone, the phantom touch of Kai's hand on hers, felt too real. She glanced at her left hand. A faint, thin scar traced her palm. She didn't remember getting it. She got out of bed, walked to the mirror. Her reflection stared back, but for a split second, she saw a flicker of another face, harder, more haunted. She blinked, and it was gone. The next day at the Chronos Institute cafeteria, Elara was picking at her lunch when Kai approached, a warm smile on his face. He was talking about a new project, a breakthrough in quantum entanglement. He was charming, witty, completely oblivious to the turmoil within her. And Dr. Thorne thinks it could revolutionize long-distance communication. Imagine instantaneous data transfer across light years, he said. Elara forced a smile, but her mind was reeling. In her echo, Kai was talking about temporal displacement, about pushing the boundaries of causality. His enthusiasm then was infectious, now it felt misplaced. That's fascinating, Kai, truly, she said, distracted. Kai noticed her distant gaze. Everything all right, Elara? You seem a million light years away. She shook her head. Just a long night. Too many historical paradoxes to untangle. She excused herself, leaving Kai looking after her with a slight frown. The interaction left her shaken. The contrast between the Kai of her reality and the Kai of her echoes was jarring, unsettling. She decided to confide in her mentor, Dr. Eris Thorne. In his office, a testament to a lifetime of scientific inquiry, she tried to explain her experiences. And the scar, Dr. Thorne, it wasn't there before. And the feeling, it's not just a dream, it's like I lived it. Dr. Thorne listened patiently, stroking his beard. He offered a logical scientific explanation. Elara, the human mind is a complex thing. Prolonged exposure to theoretical paradoxes, the stress of your work, it can manifest in vivid dreams, even psychosomatic symptoms like a phantom scar. Your subconscious is likely trying to make sense of the abstract concepts you deal with daily. But Elara knew it was more. I remembered details. The layout of the lab, the specific readings on the console, the panic in Kai's eyes. Dr. Thorne sighed, a hint of concern in his gaze. I understand this is distressing. Perhaps a short leave? I could recommend an excellent therapist. Elara felt a surge of frustration. He didn't believe her. Thank you, Dr. Thorne. I'll consider it. She left, more determined than ever to find answers on her own. Under the cloak of night, Elara used her archivist credentials to access a rarely used section of the Institute, a decommissioned temporal mechanics lab. Dust motes danced in the beams of her flashlight. Old equipment covered in tarpaulins loomed like forgotten ghosts. She found a hidden compartment behind a loose panel, revealing a leather-bound journal. It was the journal of Dr. Lillian Hart, a brilliant but disgraced temporal physicist from decades ago. The words on the page were a chilling confirmation. Her dreams were not just dreams. They were warnings. Echoes from a timeline where the impossible had become terrifyingly real. Dr. Hart wrote of temporal bleed-through, a theoretical phenomenon where strong emotional or intellectual connections could cause memories and experiences to cross over between diverging timelines. Elara read an entry describing a catastrophic failure, a temporal fracture caused by an experimental overload. The description matched her echoes with horrifying precision. Dr. Hart's final entry was a desperate plea to prevent a similar event. Elara realized her alternate self, from a doomed timeline, was sending her a message. She returned to Dr. Thorne, not with theories but with the journal, redacted reports, and her own meticulous cross-referencing. "This isn't stress, Dr. Thorne. This is a warning. My memories are echoes from a timeline where Project Chronos failed. Where he made a critical error." Dr. Thorne examined the evidence, his scientific skepticism warring with the undeniable data. Temporal bleed-through. "I always thought it was theoretical conjecture. A ghost in the machine of causality," he said quietly. He looked at Elara, a new respect in his eyes. He believed her. "If your echoes are accurate, we have a very narrow window. What do they tell you about the solution?" Elara closed her eyes, focusing. "It's about the resonance frequency. He overrode the safety protocols. He thought he could push it further. But there was a harmonic feedback loop. We need to stabilize the primary temporal conduit before the resonance peaks. The future, or a future, was not just knocking. It was pounding on the door of their reality. The main temporal lab was a hive of activity. Project Chronos was in full swing. Kai was at the central console, his face alight with excitement. A massive temporal conduit hummed ominously in the center of the room. Elara and Dr. Thorne, disguised as routine maintenance personnel, moved through the bustling lab. Elara's echoes were screaming now, the alternate reality pressing in. They reached a secondary control panel, away from Kai's direct line of sight. Dr. Thorne began to input the corrective frequencies. "Initiating Phase 3, Kai said into his comms. "Prepare for temporal signature stabilization. Let's make history, everyone." Elara saw the moment Kai would make the fatal override. She had to act. She rushed towards Kai, pushing through technicians. "Kai, stop! Don't engage the override," she shouted over the hum of the conduit. Kai turned, startled. "Elara, what are you doing?" "We're on schedule." The temporal conduit began to whine, a high-pitched, dangerous sound. "It's a trap," she said, desperate. "The resonance. It's unstable. You'll fracture the timeline." She grabbed his arm. "What are you talking about?" "Get back, Elara. You'll jeopardize everything," he yelled, pulling away. Just then, Dr. Thorne activated the secondary panel. A subtle shift in the conduit's hum. The energy readings on Kai's console flickered. "She's right, Kai." Dr. Thorne's voice was strained. "The harmonic feedback is critical. We've just averted a cascade failure." Kai stared at his console, then at Elara. His ambition clashed with the cold, hard data. He slowly pulled his hand away from the override button. The crisis was averted. The echoes receded, leaving Elara breathless but whole. Later, in Dr. Thorne's office, a shaken Kai tried to understand. "How did you know, Elara?" Elara chose her words carefully. I had a series of premonitions." Vivid, detailed. "They showed me the exact sequence of events, the flaw in the resonance calculations." Kai looked at her with a mixture of awe and confusion. "Thank you, Elara. You saved us all." Dr. Thorne cleared his throat. "Project Chronos will proceed, but with significantly revised safety protocols. And Elara, your unique insights will be invaluable going forward." Weeks later, Elara was back in her apartment. The quiet hum of her life was now pregnant with unspoken possibilities. She looked at the faint scar on her hand, a tangible link to a reality that almost was. The echoes may have receded, but they left their mark. She was no longer just an archivist of the past. She was a guardian of the future, burdened with the knowledge of what could have been. Elara Vance had walked between worlds, guided by the whispers of a displaced narrative. She had glimpsed a future that never was, and in doing so ensured it never would be. But the echoes once heard are never truly forgotten. They linger, a constant reminder of the infinite possibilities and the delicate balance of every choice.